You have to embrace change, try, test, and make it work for you. If it does not work for you, okay, try a different thing. But don't stop making changes with technology. I have technologies is for life.
It's already 2030, and you need to start doing things today, because if you haven't done them today, by 2030 you might not have a company. So
Absolutely.
What are those things that these CEOs they need to think of in the start transforming inside in their companies utilizing AI?
It's a transition, and we will have to adapt to the new situation. Obviously, there will be new skills to learn. Maybe some people will not be able to learn the new skills.
People are worried, okay, my information is being publicly in there. Should I use ChatGPT or Copilot or Cloud or this other? Or should I just buy another product and then install it on my premises? What will be your advice on there?
We should not stop flexing our brain muscles. And create.
Welcome to the Tech4Sight Podcast, where we explore the future of technology, innovation, and design. My name is Diana Daniels, working in the areas of telecommunications, labor, financial, and digital inclusion. And I am thrilled to be joined today by María Alonso, a visionary leader in the field of artificial intelligence. She's the current CEO of Qaleon, founded in 2018, and an innovative technological company that is specialized in artificial intelligence, creating proprietary algorithms, predictive analytics, and business intelligence, designing impact solutions for companies with purpose to create value from their data and advance in the new data economy world. A technology, digital transformation, leverage consulting. Oh my God, so many topics that we're going to talk about today. Thank you, Maria, for being here with us in the Tech4Sight Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Maria, let's kick things off and let's talk about the current state of artificial intelligence. According to Gartner, AI is expected to create about $2.9 trillion in business value, just by this year. From your perspective, what are the most significant developments happening right now in artificial intelligence? And these perspectives are shaping the industry in our daily life.
Well, Diana, you raised a really hot topic. Currently, everybody's talking about AI. Not so many people really know what is AI, and not so many people are really dealing with AI. Anyhow, AI is a really interesting technology and great technology that is still in development, is still developing, and there are years to come to go on developing. When now people hear about AI, immediately all of them, or most of them, think of generative AI. And it's not the only AI existing, and it's not the only AI in the present and in the future. There is focused or specialized AI and generative general AI. That's what people are talking right now. It's really amazing the number of things you can think about, and even those you cannot yet think about will be possible, most likely, with AI.
So if we think today, you have given us a very actually good perspective. Most of us, when people think about AI, think in ChatGPT or other brands. But if we look ahead in the next 5 years, with all the developments where artificial intelligence is advancing super fast, the global market is valued to be, like an exponential rate crazy. By 2028, in theory, we're going to be growing like in a compound annual growth, like 40% from what it is today, just in the next 4 years. What are those promising applications on AI that you can expect in the next 5 years? So companies can have this prototype ready. What do you think in 5 years?
I'm looking around and I don't have a crystal ball just in hand. But anyway, just think of what generative AI has created and the expectations in the last 6 months, because it was just before Christmas when it came to general knowledge, right? It was simply put available for everyone to start helping in the testing of generative AI. We're all of us helping the developers to refine and retest and make it learn properly, right? Because with AI, there is a part of machine learning as well involved. So, and that's just with Gen AI. And it is hardly 6 months, right? So when you talk of 5 years, even when AI, the focused or specialized AI started, it's not so long ago, and it seems already it has been with us for almost for life, right? And that's not the case. It's a couple of years in a serious way, maybe a bit more, 3, maximum 4, because with the pandemic years with COVID and so on, it was like a parenthesis in between, but all the machines were still working, and many of us were working as well with AI remotely. That's how AI works. So it was a normal business as usual time for AI. And it will be amazing because our lives, we shall be helped and supported by all those machines that will make our life much, much easier, even in terms of businesses as well, because it will help us in reaching out much more and much more quickly and with a lot of less effort on our side. I was listening to Sam Altman some days ago, and one person was asking him a question. When you refer to ChatGPT, do you talk about it as a he or a she or it? And because many people talk about it as he or she. And Sam Altman said, no, for me, it's clearly an it, because we should never personalize or impersonate the technology. It is a tool, and we should make clear that it remains being a tool and does not take control over our lives. It is us humans to use and make good and proper use of it for improving our lives and enlarging in our reach, improving our reach as well, but using it as a technology.
I love this because somehow, we people have been thinking like, what are the things that AI is going to replace us with? And what I would like to probably shift the idea is, what are the systems that AI is going to become crucial for in our day-to-day business? If you work a lot with these business companies, you have helped them in doing this digital transformation, not only on AI, but in general terms. So what are the systems that you believe that by 2030, we're in 2024 today, by 2030, what systems are going to be, kind of like the bread and butter, or like AI is going to be like the water for this type of systems? Where do you see it more used?
I think in the same way, phone, or what we say now, mobile phones, have replaced the fixed lines, the landlines that we were calling them in the telco arena, in the telco business. They are all mobile now. Even the fixed lines that we think they are fixed, most of them still run on a mobile network. So it is going to be replaced in a natural way without us really realizing all those changes behind the scenes and behind the devices that we are using. So in the same way as you mentioned ChatGPT, but it's as well Copilot, for example, it's already has already been embedded in the Microsoft systems. So all the intuitive proposals for new words as you are writing, it is already AI.
Right.
So you may be thinking it's the correction tool that we at the beginning hated so much because it was not accurate. Now it has gone both better and better. And now it even suggests full sentences and so on. That's the basis of the both ChatGPT and the Copilot. So it will be ingrained in our lives in a very smooth way, and we will find things much easier. For example, with the Uber, who is now taking the phone and calling for a taxi? No one is doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And has it been a revolution? Not for the daily user, let's say, for the consumer, but it has been a huge revolution for those in the industry that is directly involved in that service. So they have to adapt. And that's why, for example, as we saw, you said being a sort of a visionary at the beginning, that's why we created Qaleon, and we have the chameleon as our symbol, as our logo, because we have to adapt. We have to be in constant evolution and adaptation to the environment, and making us be ingrained there without a big effort, because otherwise the resistance to change, to conscious change, is huge in humans.
You know, and this is why I would love to get a little bit more on this question on what applications, what areas companies need to start looking at, because many of us already started that process of digital transformation towards utilizing AI in our daily lives in regular terms. But thinking you are the CEO of a company, somebody that is watching us today is the CEO of a company that is still just starting that process. And I'm thinking, it's already 2030, and you need to start doing things today, because if you haven't done them today, by 2030, you might not have a company. So what are those things that these CEOs, they need to think of in the start transforming inside of their companies utilizing AI?
First of all, the digital transformation of society is already happening and has already happened for those under 35, I would say.
Yeah.
So they live in a world with certain mindset parameters, and those who are, we have a little bit older than 35.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, some months. Those months difference are make us think in a different way. So we still are surprised sometimes with how things are being done and how quickly things change. We have to adapt all the time, and that transformation mindset has to be ingrained in us as per design, right? Otherwise, we will be living in a kind of, I wouldn't dare say metaverse, but it's almost as dead as the initial metaverse. It will become something different sometime or another, but the initial metaverse is dead, basically. It's no longer booming as it was supposed to be. So you see how things move so quickly, right? Yeah. So you have to embrace change, try, test, and make it work for you. If it does not work for you, okay, try a different thing. But don't stop making changes with technology. I have technology is for life. And for life means forever, and as well for our lives, for our daily lives, both on a personal and on a professional point of view. I would say everything for companies, those companies that have not started the process or the journey, they should be thinking of, first of all, starting with something easy would be automating some of their processes, trying to if you start thinking of standardizing the processes, it's simply making a review of the processes and checking whether they are still useful in the way they were initially designed, or situations has changed and you're just going on because it has been done like that forever. So that doesn't work anymore. You have to be reviewing the situation from time to time, but in a short period, and updating the information and the way things are being done. Automation is the first step. That's a toddler steps. And then starting putting some kind of intelligence behind, even small sort of chatbots, but the chatbot that were so unfriendly at the beginning have really evolved. And the same technology that is used for a chatbot with a little bit more of enhancement, you can help it, for example, show which are the current products that we still have in our warehouse that have not been reduced in stock for the last 3 months. And you just make that question, and the system would immediately check behind all the movements and the parameters and in the stock and so on, and send you an answer instead of going to look into every single tool or every single repository, right? So it's making use
so
of
like an internal chatbot could be a very easy way to start before even to put it like to the customer face, so you can check out how does it work for your company and your processes, for instance.
Yes,
that's
easy. Yeah, that's easy. And internally, you don't have the problem of confidentiality of the information, the privacy issues, etc. So you start learning internally with some tools, and then once you are confident and you are able to manage that, then you take the step outside of your company and try to do the facing customer part, for example.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, and talking about this privacy and all these changes that AI is forcing us as well to adapt. There's, I was reading the other day a study about from PricewaterhouseCoopers that said that 84% of the CEOs are concerned about the ethical use of artificial intelligence. How do you see this ethical challenge of AI evolving, and what steps should companies start thinking about or already taking in order to address these issues very proactively?
Okay, when companies are talking ethical use of AI, they are meaning not just the use within ethical, for ethical purposes, but as well the intellectual property use and protection of their businesses and the confidential enterprise information that should be protected. That's a big concern. Those three topics are a big concern right now in companies, and it should go on being a big concern in the way all these tools are currently designed and put to the market, because they are still learning. They are still toddlers, they are newborns, they're babies. So they have to learn a lot, and they learn by falling down and putting up again. But they can break things in the way, right? So these are the things that if they are broken for a business, it's a big issue. So we have to be very conscious about the privacy of the information, the personal privacy issues. That the European Union has already addressed them, but it's still going to be enforced in 2 years. But it has been issued already this last month of May. and as well the confidentiality of the information and intellectual property rights. Think that everything you put into these generative tools become public in a way, right?
Yeah. I know of companies that they have actually had implemented a policy where they're not allowing employees to use, let's say, either Copilot or ChatGPT for their day-to-day information. They don't want the companies, they don't want their data be used by this model in a public way. What will be your advice to these type of companies? Like if people are worried, okay, my information is being publicly in there, should I use ChatGPT or Copilot or Cloud or this other, or should I just buy another product and then install it on my premises? What will be your advice on there?
Well, I would say we are using this kind of generative tools from a separate network other than our main network in the company with our own developments and products and internal information. So it's not tainted, and there is no possibility that anyone makes a mistake and puts something that should not be there. For example, we can make some tests just to check or give ideas on something, but very general. We don't want to be accurate, because immediately that can be as well asked by someone else in a competitor, and they will all receive a similar proposal, right? So if you're using that, you risk to share your new idea or your new project with someone else. You don't want them to be ahead of you when getting to the market, for example.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful with that. It's very much widely used by communications agencies, for example, for creativity with their customers. But at the end of the day, they are selling just services to anyone. And if the same kind of human brains are providing ideas, it's almost similar to having the same tool providing with new ideas for your customers, right? So you don't have a proprietary information as such. But if they were using some confidential information and checking out something with these generative tools, they can inadvertently put in something in the market that should not yet be there. So you have to be careful with that.
Listen, we have in this very same space a really good friend of ours, Marcus Thompson. He is a legend in the areas of cybersecurity, information technology, and information warfare. He actually has a long, successful career with the Australian Army. And he told us about the dangers of what AI means for the automatization of the rapid propagation on the problems of cybersecurity. You know, IBM said that 78% of the consumers, not only companies, but in general, all people are really worried about how AI will easily make an easier target for us as consumers to be probably targeted by cybercrime. How businesses can balance this? How business can balance the benefits of the AI against the need of this type of protection and privacy?
Great. It's you get a lot of time savings for quick testing and rapid iteration of ideas or products. But on the other hand, you have to be careful about how you're asking things and that you're not leaking being unnoticed some key information. But it's good for testing ideas. There is some additional use of these tools that is now very much in discussion. That's the creation of code. And there has been a big reaction, for example, this week by the open source code community about the use of these tools to generate code. They they have forbidden their community to insert code from these tools into the developments of any open source code product, because it is, first of all, it's not tested. Secondly, it can be weirdly written. It may work, but it is not thought in the way a programmer, a developer thinks. So it's much more difficult for them to identify any potential problem with the code. And as well, something that I am very much aware of, because I'm a lawyer by background, so is people do not read the terms and conditions of either these tools or any of the code that you can find out there. And most of it is not allowed for commercial purposes. Not being allowed for commercial purposes means that you cannot put it into your products and then try to sell even the result of using part of that code in there. So you may face in a near future or midterm future huge demands and problems from the legal teams of the generative AI community.
I love this answer, Maria, because it actually kind of like frames perfectly my next thought with you, which is about the impact of AI in the job market. You know, the World Economic Forum said last year that by next year, AI was going to displace 85 million jobs, but also was going to create another 97 million new roles. So if we're thinking about like this potential displacement, but then not necessarily on the coders, because people were thinking, next thing AI is going to code everything. Well, not so fast. How should workers and businesses should prepare for this shift? You know, what can be sure to do this a smooth transition?
Well, every time there has been a big, I'd say, let's call it technological, so far change in history, it has created a sort of revolution in the workforce arena. When carriages were pulled by horses, and suddenly there was a machine with a motor, with an engine there. There were no more need of those people who were feeding the horses or were cleaning the horses or even the horses, right? But a different type of need arose. It was those mechanics, those who were taking care of those engines, right? And then the development of the engines, because the horses can be a little bit quicker or a bit bigger, but they don't evolve, right? But engines do. It's a similar situation with that. With music, it happened when it was, first of all, it was just the, for example, the piano man. Then suddenly it was called the pianola, that was with a grinding thing, right? Remember? Well, we have seen that in some movies or in old films. And then suddenly the disco industry came, the records industry came. And what has happened with the records, then what has happened with the tapes? It has all changed. Now it's vanished, but it's more available to anyone. So it's a transition, and we will have to adapt to the new situation. Obviously, there will be new skills to learn. Maybe some people will not be able to learn the new skills if they are too old. That's why we say those above 35, we have to be updated. But I mean, you have to be ready to learn, and the sooner you start embracing that change and getting ready for that, the better. for you and for your environment, because otherwise you will not be able even to talk to your environment, to your relatives, talk grandparents with their grandchildren. Their grandchildren talk through TikTok, and they send the messages through WhatsApp, or even through not even WhatsApp. They don't use WhatsApp, the teenagers, anymore. They chat over the TikTok as well. So and on Instagram. So you see, even you want to catch up, and you say, "Wow, my grandma still is able to use WhatsApp." Okay, it's almost gone as well. So it goes so quickly that we have to be ready to learn, at least to understand what is coming, what we're talking about, and understand the changes in the life and in the world we're living in, if we still want to be meaningful for something, right?
You know what? I totally agree with you. And I guess that us over 40 are worried about the utilization of AI, especially on the creative industry. You know, I not so far ago, I did this TED Talk where I centered my conversation about how we need to foster creativity as that key skill in the future, because AI is increasingly being used to for people to create music, to create graphics, to, you know, it's influencing everything from the art to the music. And how do you see this happening? And especially, how do you believe that we could avoid to succumb to the usage of the creativity through AI, and doing AI, the creative one, being still us, our mind, to use this? How can we make it happen?
Okay, with music, there's a number of notes in music, and they can be put in different ways and with different rhythms, but it is a little bit what it is, and it's up to you to create new songs or new things, but you don't need to have an inspiration of anyone or anything already done to create something new. The difference with in music with this AI, this generative AI, is that they are always based on what they have been fed with before. So they use parts and bits of that, and they may mix it in a different way, but they are still taking bits and pieces from here and there. In the area of art, for example, painting or architecture, even, or even with new materials, for example, it is amazing how, and it was inconceivable some years ago, that anyone could make art with nails and a hammer, or nails and different lengths of nails. And depending on how you look at the image that you're creating, it has a different design inside. That is not possible with AI, except it has already been fed. I mean, inventing as such, creation as such, from scratch, with completely different, unknown things, and never used before for that purpose, is not possible. It will not be possible in a short future with this AI, because of the way it is construed, the way it's built, that is learning from the models that are already existing there. So creativity has still a way long for humans. And I think that's important, that we still create and do things on our own, or not just rely on the proposals of the AI. Can be those proposals can be inspiring for you to do something different. But I think we should not stop flexing our brain muscles. And create. Even in writing, sometimes you are just facing a computer, you have to write something long. If it's a report, it's really boring, but if you have to write something, even a post, sometimes you're blocked. The panic of the blank sheet, it was called, right? But with a computer, your fingers get mechanic movement, right? But if you take a pen and a paper, suddenly you start writing some words, make a little design, and suddenly it comes. So it's a completely different way of creating things out of nothing. So humans increased or improved or augmented with AI are fantastic. But still the human part has to be very important. And that's why at the beginning I said we have to use it as a tool to help us and increase our potential, right?
So I love all this, Maria, because it gives us a perfect framing for our next section, where I would like to do a quick rapid fire round. I'll ask you some little questions, and then you will answer with one word.
One word. Wow.
Let's get ready. Okay. Today, what is the most surprising use of AI that you've seen?
Create pictures or show art for pictures.
Okay. So today again, let's gonna think in today. Today, what is your favorite AI-driven gadget?
Well, something that's already old. That's the geolocalization and the proposal for paths in a quick way.
Good. All right. So one industry that you believe that AI will revolutionize next?
All of them. Any industry created by a human will be revolutionized by AI if the humans who run it know how to take advantage and use properly AI.
Love it. All right, we're in 2030 already, 5 years from now, 6 years. What is the big
You look the same.
We look the same. It's 2030. We look the same. What is the impact that AI did on creativity?
New ways of creativity that are already emerging somehow. If I can make an example, I have a friend who is an amazing photographer, but with her photographs, she's mixing and asking one of the AI tools. I don't want to make too much of a commercial of anyone, but one of the tools, and she just sends a series of 3 or 4 pictures. It's a combination of hers and the new proposals of AI, and she just suggests a theme. And then she posts them and says, I create the pictures and you write the story. And all of us in her community write a little story that has been that is inspired by those pictures. You cannot imagine the amazing stories and the different interpretations that may come to our minds with the same pictures in front of us. And she's creating with that, she's creating a book, and she's going to do an exhibition. So it's
good. Well, I'm looking forward to
it's a combination. It's a combination of different types of creativity that come to a new creativity or to a new world of creation, right?
Super. So now let's go into positions we kind of like theorized about 5 years from now. Let's gonna go a little further. It's 2040.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, what is the biggest potential pitfall for AI? What went wrong? And hopefully, by seeing the future, we can avoid it.
If we don't take seriously the review of the biases of the existing data sets that are informing and conforming the current engine of the generative AI. The data sets are very much biased, and they're not fully updated, and they don't come from all parts of industries and from all over the world. They come from some countries and with certain, I would say, races and certain types of people, and with a certain knowledge. So, because all the rest has not been digitized yet.
Yeah.
So it is pretty biased. That's why so far I rely more on the focused or specialized AI, because you know what kind of data sets you're using.
You have put in.
Yeah. With the other one, it's great. It has to, that's why everyone in the AI industry internally, we all agree that it's just the first steps. And it's still way to be reliable. The lovely word that the marketing people put to the mistakes is hallucinations. It's a lovely word, it's a lovely concept, but the reality, as a technician understands it, is it's wrong. It's a mistake.
Yeah.
So it's still learning. It's starting. The way forward is amazing. I can't wait to see it work properly and to have a view from a little hole into the future and see it working properly. I would love it. I think it's going to be great for humanity if we take things seriously and accept surprise, but not hallucinations.
So let's I'm going to hold you into that that little hole into the future, where we're going to think it's already 2050. It's almost 26 years from now.
Wow.
What would you wish today that by 25 years from now, AI has fixed, solved, invented, used for that ideally will make of this world better?
It will be a combination of AI and some other technologies, where I think that even without a handheld device, we shall be able to communicate with other people, just using our minds, just having something that we put in our ear, just like that. Or I have to say, about, I would say 20 years ago, I tested a vest at the MIT with Nicolas Negroponte. He was developing something, and it was just a vest, a jacket, and I could speak with the jacket because all the designs in the jacket were little wires, and they have a wireless connection. And with a ring, it was just, you were talking like that, and then it connected, and you could go on talking, and the system got your voice. So if that was 20 years ago,
imagine
25 from now, and it has not come out to the market in that way, but something is being done with based on that. I mean, there are lots of tests being done right now everywhere in the world, and there are amazing things to come. Our 25 years from now, then our grandchildren will explain to us what's it all about. And we will be able to talk to them of what we were using in the same way my grandma talks about the little cards with the holes that were the beginning.
Punching cards.
Yes, the punching cards for the computers. Many years ago. Okay, so it evolves, and you may not be able to think yet how much it will change, but it will be a combination of technologies, because it's not just the technology, it's as well the speed of processing, and solve the issue of the energy consumption right now, that it is a big problem at present. And the chips are going to evolve in an amazing way. There are some tests as well. The quantum computing is fine, is there, but there will be a different type of chips. Formerly, a full room was an engine, and the technology we have in our cell phones is like 100 times stronger or more powerful than there was in the NASA when the Apollo 11 landed the moon, right? And it's 100 times more powerful. Our little cell phones. So it's a combination of things: technology, hardware, software, the different way of using the technology, all the different technologies that are involved that will make a different world.
Maria, this has been amazing. It has been such a fascinating discussion. And as we wrap up, I just want to ask if you have any final thoughts or advice for our listeners that are eager to stay ahead in this AI game.
I would say, use the technology, try the technology. Do not be afraid of it, but be careful with what you use and put into those tools, because you don't have the control of what's happening behind your screen, right?
Yeah.
But get used to it and learn. Read the terms and conditions. I know it's boring.
The lawyer speaking.
Well, it's being a bit careful, as you're not, but but don't be afraid. There are amazing things coming, and we should all work for a more sustainable world by all means. Not just the environment, it's as well the sustainability of companies, and therefore for the workforce and the labor, because otherwise, how are we going to go back to each one of us having our own food at home? We cannot grow our own food. So life has changed. It's coexistence with respect, but with lots of energy, using that energy in the proper way, and for a sustainable future, but with lots of capacity of surprise.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you for sharing your insight with us. It's been an absolute pleasure to having you here in the Tech4Sight podcast. And I really appreciate all your answers. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Diana. Thanks.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in today. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we're going to continue to explore the future of technology, innovation, telecommunications, and more to come. Keep your minds open, your ideas flowing, and always stay foresighted. See you soon.